everything is a fight, especially in front of the kids. Ma'am, I don't know.
The instant the clip surfaced online, the atmosphere shifted. Timelines stalled, comment sections ignited, and viewers who believed they had already witnessed every possible love and hip-hop twist suddenly sensed this chapter might not be finished. One unclear video, one rumored late-night encounter, and two names that were never expected to intersect this way. Erica Mena and Mendeecees. No one is stating that anything truly occurred. No confirmations have been made, yet the murmurs are intensifying by the hour, and the internet is doing what it does best, transforming speculation into chaos. Fans are stunned not by what the footage actually shows, but by what many assume it implies. A supposed night, a rumored connection, and a storyline that feels too tangled, too dramatic, and too perfectly timed to overlook. Erica Mena, already facing heavy scrutiny following public fallout, arrests, and relentless headlines, suddenly finds herself pulled into another viral storm. Just when it seemed the tension might ease, a so-called overnight video begins circulating, prompting users to connect dots that may not even align. Some wonder if it was coincidence, clout chasing, or the moment everything unraveled. Then there is Mendeecees, a name often associated with loyalty, controversy, and a complicated past. Fans never anticipated seeing his name drawn into this type of narrative, especially not alongside Erica, in a way that instantly ignited gossip blogs. Reactions flooded in rapidly. Shock, anger, curiosity, and one dominant question echoed everywhere. Supporters rushed to defend their favorites while critics refined their theories. Some dismissed the situation as another example of how rumors escalate into headlines. Others insisted there was more beneath the surface that had yet to be exposed. Families remained quiet, friends shared cryptic posts, and audiences felt like they were watching the opening moments of a storyline that could turn far darker. When alleged footage spreads and reputations become tangled, the truth is often the first thing lost, and this time the internet refused to move on. This narrative did not begin with proof or confirmation. It started with whispers, soft at first, then louder until they became unavoidable. Blogs posted vague captions. Fan pages hinted that something was brewing, and soon timelines were filled with the same question phrased countless ways. No facts were being claimed, yet opinions were everywhere, and that alone was enough to turn rumor into spectacle. Erica Mena had already been living under intense observation. Every post, every appearance, every emotional caption was dissected almost instantly. Some supporters felt she had endured enough and deserved peace. Others believed her recent actions reflected unresolved anger and instability. So when a brief clip began circulating, allegedly showing her in the presence of Mendeecees late at night, many were ready to assume the worst. Not because the video confirmed anything, but because it matched the storyline they already believed. What caused the clip to spread was not what was visible, but what was unclear. Blurry images, muted audio, silhouettes instead of faces. Online sleuths slowed the footage, zoomed in, compared outfits from old posts, and aligned timestamps from unrelated stories. Entire timelines were constructed from fragments. Fans were unsettled, not because they trusted the clip, but because of how quickly belief forms when curiosity collides with drama. Commentators were quick to stress that nothing had been verified. Words like allegedly, reportedly, and rumored dominated the discussions, yet they failed to slow the momentum. Once the idea of an overnight connection entered public conversation, it took on a life of its own. Reaction channels jumped in, some urging caution, others leaning into the mystery. Emotions escalated as supporters on both sides clashed, accusing one another of bias and blind loyalty. For Erica, this situation felt heavier than previous rumors. People close to her hinted online that she was exhausted from being misjudged. Cryptic messages appeared about being criticized without knowing the full truth. Some interpreted those posts as signs of guilt, others as frustration with false narratives. Either way, the lack of clarity only intensified the speculation. Each passing hour without answers felt like another twist written by the internet itself, while Mendeecees unexpectedly became the center of a controversy no one saw coming. Seeing his name trend beside Erica's sent shockwaves through social media, catching even longtime viewers off guard. Those familiar with his past questioned why he would be linked to such claims at all. Others pushed back. reminding everyone that being near someone does not equal being involved, and proximity is not proof of intimacy. Still, the power of implication had already done its damage. Once a name is pulled into the rumor cycle, removing it becomes nearly impossible. Friends and acquaintances unintentionally added fuel to the situation. A liked post here, a sudden unfollow there. A story removed too quickly. Fans treated every online action as a signal. Some argued the overnight narrative was being stretched for attention. Others believed the timing felt too calculated to ignore. Families remained divided, not through statements, but through the silence that followed. Reaction videos echoed across platforms. One voice warned, "This is how rumors destroy reputations." Another fired back, "If it was nothing, why not shut it down immediately?" These opposing opinions collided endlessly, creating a loop where no explanation ever felt enough. Old conflicts resurfaced not as proof, but as background people used to support their assumptions. Behind the scenes, sources claimed everyone involved was aware of the chatter, but chose not to respond directly. Some believe addressing rumors only fuels them further. Others argue silence hands control of the story to outsiders. Fans were left reading into details that may not have existed. Screenshots from unrelated moments were reused, captions rewritten, and suddenly a casual interaction from weeks earlier was framed as a warning sign. What intensified the moment was how closely it aligned with Erica's current public image. Critics said her emotional transparency made her an easy target. Supporters countered that vulnerability should never be treated as guilt. The overnight angle became symbolic rather than literal, representing control, judgment, and the harsher scrutiny placed on women's private lives compared to men's. As hours turned into days, the rumor did not fade. It transformed. New accounts reposted the clip, adding their own theories. Some claimed more footage existed. Others insisted the original video was taken out of context. No concrete evidence surfaced, yet the conversation kept expanding. It stopped being about a single night and became a debate about trust, perception, and how quickly public opinion can shift. By the time viewers realized nothing had been confirmed, many had already picked sides. Some felt embarrassed for believing too quickly. Others doubled down, convinced that where there is smoke, there must be fire. Through it all, Erica's name continued to trend, tied to a story that may have been nothing more than rumor magnified by timing and tension. The narrative moved forward not because of facts but momentum. And once momentum takes hold in a world driven by clicks and reactions, it rarely slows on its own. The conversation shifted when people began asking why this rumor felt different from countless others that appear and disappear. Usually speculation flares up and fades fast, but this one lingered. Many pointed to timing as the reason. Erica Mena was already in a fragile public moment, and Mendeecees carried a name with history, loyalty, and weight in the reality TV space. When those two storylines collided, attention was unavoidable. Reaction videos multiplied overnight. Some creators dissected the alleged clip frame by frame, narrating what they believed they saw. Others avoided analysis altogether, focusing instead on the broader impact of rumors. They reminded viewers that nothing had been verified, and that alleged footage can be misleading. Still, the comment sections told another story. Emotions ran high, and speculation became real-time entertainment. Adding fuel was the resurfacing of old interviews and past season moments. Clips of Erica speaking about trust, betrayal, and being judged unfairly were replayed through a new lens. Some found the irony impossible to ignore. Others argued it was unfair to rewrite someone's past based on an unproven claim. But the internet thrives on patterns, even imagined ones. Mendeecees became the quiet center of the storm. His lack of public response was interpreted in opposing ways. Supporters said his silence showed restraint and maturity. Critics claimed it signaled avoidance. Neither side had proof, yet both spoke with certainty. That certainty spread quickly, turning opinions into assumed truths. Friends of Erica shared vague posts about loyalty and betrayal without naming names. Fans immediately tied those messages to the rumor. Some believed the posts were defensive. Others thought they were calculated, meant to redirect attention. Every word was dissected, every emoji analyzed. Even unrelated posts were pulled into the narrative simply because of timing. Soon, imagined conversations began circulating in comment sections. People wrote what they believed Erica would say if she addressed the rumors. Others scripted what Mendeecees might respond with if he ever chose to speak. And just like that, speculation filled the space where facts never existed. None of it was factual, yet it shaped perception. In the absence of real statements, imagined ones rushed in to fill the silence. The family angle only intensified the drama. Fans speculated about how loved ones might be reacting behind closed doors. Were they upset, frustrated, or quietly amused by how exaggerated everything had become? Public perception painted the family as divided, not because of anything said, but because silence invites projection. When answers are missing, assumptions rush to take their place. Another layer emerged when viewers began questioning the origin of the clip itself. Where did it come from? Who shared it first and why now? Theories ranged from attention-seeking to deliberate sabotage. Some suggested the video may have been staged or selectively edited to invite misinterpretation. Others rejected that idea entirely, arguing that the internet often tries to discredit uncomfortable possibilities. Once again, there was no evidence, just opinions stacked on top of opinions. Longtime viewers expressed fatigue with the cycle. Many voiced frustration over how quickly curiosity turns into condemnation. Some said they missed when reality TV drama stayed on the screen instead of spilling into real lives. Others countered that public figures invite scrutiny by sharing so much of themselves. The discussion shifted away from the alleged night and toward larger questions of privacy, responsibility, and public judgment. As days passed, new accounts began using the rumor as content bait. Thumbnails promised exposure and betrayal. Captions hinted at secrets on the verge of being revealed. Even when creators admitted they were discussing reports and rumors, their wording blurred the line. Alleged became implied. Speculation began to sound like confirmation, and viewers scrolling quickly often missed the disclaimers entirely. Erica's past behavior continued to be pulled into the conversation, not as proof of wrongdoing, but as justification for belief. Critics argued that patterns matter. Supporters responded that growth is ignored when drama is more entertaining. This back and forth created an emotional tug-of-war where nuance struggled to survive. The overnight rumor became a symbol of everything people already believed about her, for better or worse. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was framed as both victim and villain, depending on who you asked. Some felt his name was being used unfairly to keep the story alive. Others believed his reputation shielded him from the level of scrutiny Erica faced head-on. That imbalance became another point of debate, with fans highlighting how differently men and women are treated in rumor cycles. Beneath all the noise was a simple reality many seemed to overlook. Nothing had been proven. No confirmations had surfaced. No clear statement had closed the case. Yet the story continued to grow, fueled by reactions instead of facts. It demonstrated how narratives do not always need substance to spread, only attention. The alleged overnight storyline kept evolving as it moved across platforms. What began as a short clip turned into a broader conversation about trust, image, and control. With every retelling, the original uncertainty became harder to recognize, buried beneath layers of interpretation and emotion. At this point, the rumor was no longer just about what may or may not have happened. It became a reflection of how quickly audiences choose sides, how fast speculation hardens into judgment, and how silence can speak louder than denial. The story pushed forward on its own, driven by curiosity and conflict rather than confirmation. As the rumor stretched further, something noticeably shifted. Attention slowly moved away from the alleged night itself and toward motive. People stopped asking only what happened and began questioning why the story existed at all. Was it coincidence that the clip surfaced during an already volatile moment for Erica? Was the timing opportunistic? Or was it simply the internet recycling chaos because chaos consistently performs? These questions began replacing earlier speculation, signaling a change in how audiences processed the situation. Some fans redirected their frustration toward the blogs amplifying the story. They argued that certain outlets thrive in gray areas, presenting alleged narratives close enough to reality to feel credible without crossing into confirmation. Screenshots of headlines circulated, dissected word by word. Terms like caught, exposed, and leaked carried emotional weight, even when paired with disclaimers. Many viewers were unsettled not only by the rumor itself, but by how easily carefully chosen language could guide belief without proof. As criticism grew, Erica's supporters became louder and more organized. They pointed to her history with public conflicts that were later revealed to be exaggerated or incomplete. To them, this rumor felt like another instance of her being framed as an easy target. Comment sections flooded with reminders about context, humanity, and pattern-based judgment. Supporters argued that the conversation was no longer about an alleged overnight link, but about public punishment disguised as curiosity. Critics pushed back with equal force. While acknowledging that nothing had been confirmed, they argued that repeated controversy rarely appears without reason. One widely shared comment stated that image is currency, and once it is damaged, people assume the worst. That phrase spread rapidly, becoming a cornerstone of debate. For critics, reputation itself became evidence, even without facts. Imagined private conversations soon began circulating again. Viewers speculated about emotional exchanges between Erica and those close to her, picturing exhaustion, frustration, and pressure. They imagined friends urging her to speak up, while she weighed silence against self-protection. None of these scenarios were real, yet they felt real to invested audiences. The line between storytelling and speculation blurred further, strengthening the illusion of insight. Mendeecees' name continued trending, but his role shifted. Instead of being the focus, he became a comparison point. Fans measured his silence against how others in similar situations had responded. Some praised restraint. Others viewed it as calculated distance. A few suggested that silence allowed others to shape the narrative in his absence. Once again, silence was interpreted as both strategy and indifference, depending on perspective. Another twist emerged when a separate video, similar in tone and setting, began circulating. Although it involved entirely different individuals, many viewers mistakenly connected it to the same storyline. Confusion spread rapidly before corrections followed, but by then the damage was done. The moment demonstrated how easily misinformation attaches itself to existing rumors. Once a narrative gains momentum, even unrelated content can be pulled into its orbit. Family dynamics quietly entered the discussion. Fans speculated about how children and relatives might one day encounter these headlines. For some viewers, this shifted the tone entirely, sparking discomfort about how far the conversation had gone. Others dismissed those concerns, insisting that public life comes with unavoidable fallout. Even among fans, opinions remained sharply divided. Industry voices weighed in indirectly. Vague comments about clout culture, selective outrage, and rumor economics appeared in interviews and podcasts. Listeners connected dots, assuming these remarks referenced the situation. Whether intentional or not, these observations reinforced the idea that the alleged narrative fit into a broader entertainment pattern. Erica's social media behavior became another focal point. When she posted unrelated content, critics accused her of distraction. When she remained silent, they accused her of avoidance. Supporters argued that no response would ever satisfy critics committed to a specific storyline. This no-win scenario became a major talking point. Every choice was framed negatively, regardless of intent. Emotional stakes rose as conversations shifted toward regret. Not regret over an alleged night, but regret over past openness. Some argued that Erica's transparency invited relentless scrutiny. Others insisted honesty should never become a liability. This debate resonated deeply with viewers who recognized similar patterns in their own lives. Speculation spread to Mendeecees' inner circle. Fans analyzed who appeared beside him publicly and who did not. Absences were treated as statements. Presence was seen as endorsement. Logic mattered less than engagement. Each theory generated clicks, comments, and noise. Fatigue eventually set in. Viewers expressed frustration over how long the rumor dominated timelines without new information. This exhaustion sparked reflection about media consumption and accountability. Some questioned their role in amplifying unverified stories. Awareness grew, but it failed to slow momentum. The story had grown larger than individual reactions. By this stage, the alleged overnight link became symbolic. It represented ongoing arguments about celebrity culture, privacy, silence, and perception. The same rumor supported opposite conclusions, and that contradiction fueled longevity. What became clear was that the situation had moved beyond Erica or Mendeecees alone. It evolved into a case study of how narratives form and harden without confirmation. The internet wrote chapters faster than reality could respond, and once written, they proved difficult to erase. As noise continued, a quieter tension emerged. What happens after the cycle ends? When attention shifts, what remains for those whose names were attached to speculation? That question lingered beneath every discussion. Some fans noticed that the narrative itself became the headline. Instead of debating truth, they questioned why such rumors gained traction. Confirmation bias emerged as a key explanation. Pre-existing beliefs shaped interpretation. Erica's silence took on multiple meanings. To some, it was self-preservation. To others, avoidance. Supporters warned that responding only feeds speculation. Critics insisted clarity would end it. Yet even clarity felt impossible. Mendeecees remained distant, becoming a projection surface. His lack of participation did not weaken the rumor. It allowed it to survive independently. Comment sections shifted from outrage to reflection. Viewers admitted sharing posts impulsively. Some felt misled by sensational framing. This self-awareness slowed chaos briefly but did not erase impact. The story never disappeared. It settled into background relevance. Podcasts referenced it. Reaction videos cited it casually. The alleged night became shorthand for rumor culture. Accountability debates reignited. Who was responsible when rumors spread? Opinions clashed. Fame, humanity, intent, and ethics collided. Questions of intent followed. Was the clip misread or deliberately framed? Without answers, intent became theory. Past statements resurfaced. Empathy and irony coexisted. Neither interpretation prevailed. As weeks passed, the story became about reputation. Some believe time erases everything. Others argue the internet never forgets, it archives. And that reality remained unresolved. Among longtime fans, a noticeable shift in tone began to surface. Many expressed sadness at how quickly the enjoyment of reality television drama spills into real-world harm, leaving consequences that linger long after the entertainment fades. Several fans admitted they missed when conflict felt confined to episodes and confessionals. Now the line between entertainment and real-life impact felt increasingly blurred. That discomfort did not stop engagement, but it changed how people talked about it in quieter spaces. A sense of inevitability settled in. Most accepted that no clear ending was coming. There would be no final reveal, no explosive confession, no clean resolution. Instead, the story would slowly fade, leaving impressions rather than confirmed facts. For some, that was deeply frustrating. For others, it felt entirely predictable. What remained undeniable was the power of suggestion. A short clip, a few selective words, and perfect timing were enough to dominate conversations across platforms. It showed how quickly narratives solidify without confirmation, and how difficult they become to undo. Truth often took a back seat to momentum. In the end, the alleged overnight link stood less as a revelation and more as a reminder of how easily stories are constructed, how fast judgment follows, and how rarely uncertainty is respected. The rumor may fade quietly or resurface later, but its impact has already been felt. As attention shifts elsewhere, the lesson lingers. In spaces where speculation is currency, silence becomes noise and perception outweighs proof. As discussion continued, another layer entered the conversation: the long shadow of viral rumors. Once a name becomes attached to an alleged narrative, it does not disappear when attention moves on. It remains in search results, suggested videos, and comment histories. Some viewers revisited their early reactions. They admitted they clicked out of curiosity, stayed out of shock, and commented emotionally. Only later did they question whether they had contributed to something unfair. Others rejected that idea, arguing that discussion is not the same as accusation. This divide exposed the ongoing tension between consumption and responsibility. Whenever a story goes viral, the narrative surrounding Erica shifted subtly. Direct accusations softened into implication. Phrases like "the timing feels strange" became common. This framing allowed suspicion to linger without certainty. Supporters warned that implication can be more damaging than direct claims because it is harder to challenge. Mendeecees remained central to debate. His continued silence became its own presence. Some believed his status shielded him from scrutiny, allowing the focus to fall more heavily on Erica. Others felt linking his name without proof was unfair. These disagreements highlighted how power dynamics influence who absorbs the most damage when rumors spread. Another wave of reaction content followed, focusing not on the alleged event but on the reaction itself. Creators examined how quickly people chose sides and how thumbnails and titles shaped perception. Even disclaimers, they noted, were often drowned out by sensational language. Viewers were surprised not only by the rumor, but by how easily they had been pulled into believing something without realizing it. Speculation deepened as audiences imagined how those involved might feel away from cameras. Conversations about stress and emotional exhaustion emerged. Some expressed empathy, saying constant judgment would be overwhelming. Others dismissed that concern, arguing public figures accept visibility at a cost. This back and forth revealed how differently accountability and compassion are defined. Control became a central question. Who controls a narrative once rumors move faster than facts? Some argued no one does. Others believed strategic silence or timed statements could still guide perception. Past scandals offered comparisons but no clear answers. Quotes from Erica's past interviews resurfaced with more nuance. Lines once mocked were reconsidered by some, softening criticism without erasing it. Fatigue continued to grow. Fans voiced frustration with entertainment spaces built on personal turmoil. Some unsubscribed from channels they felt leaned too heavily into sensationalism. Others stayed, admitting they disliked the cycle but could not look away. The alleged narrative became a cautionary tale in comment sections, though whether the lesson would last remained uncertain. Without confirmation, closure was unlikely. The story drifted into background noise, resurfacing only when names trended again. By then, the conversation was less about truth and more about meaning. Perspectives had changed. The cycle, however, remained, waiting for the next headline to begin again.